What's going on, everybody? It is I, your host, Michael Garza, 4-3. Oh, it looks like the chat's not working. Hold on. Give me a second, you guys. Hold on. Okay, we're live. Hell yeah, dude. I'm so turned on right now. Whenever you're away, I can't take the distance. I can't take the miles. I can't take the time until I next see you smile. What's up, Annie? How you doing, my brony bro? You're a pink brony bro. Welcome to the show, everybody. We got Annie in the house. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. We're kicking butt. We're going to get a gift goal started real quick. Okay, here we go. You guys ready for this? Mark Salmon says XRP Army is in the house. You really think bottom infinity is in? Only thing I'll disagree with you on. Nah, I still think all crypto is a Ponzi, even XRP. As much as I want to support the XRP bros because my boy TJ has XRP, I just can't get in good conscience. I can't, dude. I can't. I still think that I still think XRP sucks, dude. I think all crypto sucks. I think as far as software is concerned, it's pretty neat. Don't get me wrong. I'm a software nerd, but just because the software is good doesn't mean that it's worth anything. You know what I mean? That's my problem with crypto, is it's intrinsically worthless. Okay, give me a few seconds, everybody. Just a second. Here we go. There we go. Well, I mean, intrinsically, so here's the thing. Intrinsically, XRP has no value. Now, based on perceptual market value, yes. Perception, these people perceive that it has value, but the only reason it has value is because people are gamblers and people want to gamble on something stupid, you know. I mean, it doesn't have any intrinsic value, so eventually it's going to go to zero. Once people start to realize that all crypto is grifto, they'll get out of it, hopefully. In theory. The thing is, once they start seeing it go down, they start getting out of it because even they know that crypto's grifto. You know. I love it, man. No, XRP is stupid. At the end of the day, I think all crypto is dumb. And I want it to go, only reason I want it to go up is so TJ can make an extra buck. My boy TJ. And Mark, I want to see you make an extra buck too, but at the end of the day, please note, this is not financial advice, but my God, every piece of cryptocurrency, including XRP, in my opinion, is a Ponzi. That's my opinion. I'll say allegedly to back my ass up. ET says, I know I told you yesterday that you were the man, but today you are the man, Garza. You're the man now. You're the man now, dog. You're the man now, Garza. Oh, my God. You're the man now, dog. You're the man now, dog. Oh, my God. I just came up with a good idea. Maybe. Oh, shit. Hold on.
A potential tipping point in the Strait of Hormuz. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying Iran has run out of room to store oil. It's going to have to stop production. Lucas Tomlinson has more.
Mark Salmon says, will you allow me to put that comment on rises? Simple yes or no. I don't know. I mean, do whatever you want, bro. Just make sure that people are aware that I said that it's not financial advice. It's really an educational and entertainment purposes only. I mean, technically, XRP is not really a financial instrument, but I like to say it anyway. Yeah, just do whatever you want, man. You can clip whatever piece of content from me you want. I'm totally fine with it. I understand that's one of the risks I take when I do live streams, but yeah, no, I think crypto's grifto, dude. Yeah, feel free to put that comment on rises, whatever. Hey, do what you got to do, bro. That's on you, bro. What is rises, by the way? Mark Salmons, can you explain to me, please, what rises is? I don't even know what that is. Never heard of it. Is it like some video platform or something?
More details from Dubai. Hello, Lucas.
Good morning, Shannon. A year ago today, President Trump arrived here in the UAE with commerce on the agenda. And now, after a month-long blockade on Iran, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says it's starting to feel the pain.
There have been no loadings in the past 3 days. We believe their storage is full.
Yeah, here's the thing. XRP is still a Ponzi scheme, so even if it all crypto is a Ponzi scheme, just to let you know. Allegedly. You guys can get into it. You can get out of it. It's up to you. None of this is financial advice. This is just an opinion. Do your own research. Do your own due diligence, okay? Do your own fucking research.
None of the ships are getting out. None are coming in, so they're not able to store oil on the water, so they're going to start shutting down.
Here's a satellite photo of Karg Island, the hub responsible for 90% of Iran's oil exports before the war. The storage tanks are currently 85% full, according to experts.
Oh, you guys, don't forget to double tap your screen to like the stream one more time. Double tap your screen to like the stream if you guys can't. The more likes we get, the better. But yeah, double tap your screen to like the stream, yo. Double tap your screen. Don't tap it with your tip. Don't tap it with your tip. You got to get a grip. Don't tap it with your tip. Don't tap it with your tip. Don't tap it with your tip. Double tap the screen, but don't tap it with your tip. Don't tap it with your tip. You got to get a grip. Don't tap it with your tip.
Up 3% in recent days. Now, shipping guru Tanker Tracker says, quote, Karg Island isn't maxed out of storage space. If it were, they would grab the nearest available tankers and top them up. Now, during the Beijing summit between President Trump and General Secretary Xi, about a dozen ships made it out of the Strait of Hormuz, including some from China. It also turned violent again. An Indian-flagged livestock vessel was sunk off the coast of Oman. It's not clear if there was any livestock aboard, Shannon. All 14 crew members were rescued. The attack on the Indian ship took place while India was hosting a BRICS economic summit. Another ship hijacked by Iranian commandos off the coast of UAE, last seen.
That's flipping crazy, bro. Flipping crazy.
Headed to Iranian waters. Here was Iran's foreign minister speaking in Delhi.
The Strait of Hormuz is open, and all vessels can pass, except the vessels belong to those countries who are in war with us, who are fighting with us.
Now, today, officials in OPEC-free UAE announced plans to build a second pipeline to bypass the Strait of Hormuz and boost export capacity, doubling it by next year. Shannon?
All right, Lucas Tomlinson, good to see you across the planet there. Just safe travels, my friend. Thank you.
Let's bring in former CIA Chief of Station Dan Hoffman. Dan, worrying about Iran's oil storage capacity might seem a bit esoteric to the majority of Americans. Talk to us about why it matters and why we should care.
Mark Salmons is wondering, you think it's going to 5 cents? Well, hold on. I don't know. First off, I think XRP is going to zero. I think the XRP price is going to zero. Are you talking about if it's going down to 5 cents? I mean, it might. I don't know. I never know. Here's the thing. I can't predict the stupidity of the crypto markets. I can't predict how many stupid people are going to start buying into one particular crypto or not, because they're all on message boards doing a bunch of gay stuff. You know. And that's fine. You know, let them get into it's gambling. I mean, cryptocurrency is absolutely gambling, in my opinion. I say in my opinion just to be on the safe side.
Well, I think first and foremost, the IRGC cares a lot about the fact that Iran can't ship their oil and that they're reaching maximum capacity at their export terminals. That denies Iran the funds that they need to carry on their military aggression overseas, to pay the IRGC and their besieged.
Mark, I'm sorry. I just don't have any faith. I think the intrinsic value is zero for all cryptos. So therefore, if the intrinsic value is zero, then it has no other choice but to go to zero. I mean, that's just how the logic works. And what do you want? What do you want me to say? I'm not going to lie to you, Mark. I'm not. That's my prediction. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just a prediction. I'm wearing a juicy, juicy man thong.
Paramilitary force to suppress the population. I think the key question for our intelligence community, and I can tell you this from my own experience at CIA, for Director Ratcliffe at CIA, is how does Iran see this challenge for them, that they can't export their oil? How does the IRGC leadership, General Vahidi, for example, does this mean that the United States has the leverage that we need to force Iran to negotiate in good faith? Those are some of the questions, I think, that President Trump will be asking the intelligence community.
What do you make of, coming out of the trip, President Trump says that that China told him behind the scenes in these closed-door meetings and the other officials there that they will commit to not sending any weapons to the regime in Iran.
Good, because first off, Iran should not have any weapons, period. You should not be arming Iran. You should, in fact, if anything, China should want a weaker Iran. If you think about it, a weaker Iran is better for the entire Middle East. And if anything, a lot of these neighboring countries that neighbor Iran are getting sick and tired of Iran's bullshit. They are, dude. They absolutely are.
China has not said that publicly, which isn't surprising, but what do you make of those comments?
Well, Xi Jinping lies a lot, and he did that, you remember.
Yeah, you can't trust Xi Jinping at all. If you guys don't trust Xi Jinping at all, double tap your screen to like the stream. If you guys trust Trump, double tap your screen. If you think Marco Rubio's the man, by the way, double tap your screen. If you think that J.D. Vance is a stud, double tap your screen, bro. Just don't tap it with your tip. You got to get a grip. Don't tap it with your tip. Don't tap it with your tip. You got to get a grip. Don't tap it with your tip.
Back in 2015 in the Rose Garden when he told President Obama that China wouldn't militarize the South China Sea. So he'll say anything publicly. He might say that China's not providing Iran military equipment. I suppose technically that might be true. What they're giving Iran is lots of intelligence, including satellite overhead imagery that helps Iran's military in the war against the United States, as well as dual-use military equipment, engines that find their way into Iranian drones, and that enhances Iran's war effort. So there's no question about that. Look, China is the leader of this century's axis of dictatorships. Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea all aligned against us, both in Ukraine and in the Middle East. So China would like to see the United States bogged down in the Middle East and in this war against Iran, but at the same time wants to portray an image to President Trump, especially during this summit, that China is interested in a productive relationship with the U.S. because China wants to extract as many concessions as they can from the U.S. side. And President Trump's a good negotiator, and he'll see through that.
To that point, Dan, here's President Trump talking to Sean about his broader goals for the war and why China shares his objective of never seeing Iran have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, I don't think anybody should want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. If you think that Iran deserves a nuclear weapon, you're a fool. If you think that Iran's government is good, even though they killed several thousand of their own citizens simply for protesting the existing regime, you're a terrible person. Maybe not. But no, you're just misguided. You don't understand politics. It's okay. I started to understand. I'm not saying I understand anything at all, but I do have my own opinions. Yeah, I think China's putting up a lot of smoke and mirrors, to be honest. I think that was an act of desperation on China's part. They really were kissing Trump's booty. And I love Trump. I think Trump's the man. I glaze Trump all the time. I love the guy. But at the same time, it feels like China is something smells a little fishy about it. You know what I mean? Something smells a little fishy about all this. But yeah, double tap your screen if you don't trust China.
We're helping you, and we're helping you in another way because I don't think China wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon either. I said, they're stone cold crazy. You don't need them having a nuclear weapon either.
You think he agreed?
Yeah,
that was the impression.
Hopefully he agreed. But who knows? Maybe he didn't.
I don't think he wants them to have. No, he would like to see it end. But he's been good about it, you know. Hasn't done anything hostile.
What's your response?
Well, you look, China is closely allied with Iran. 90% of Iran's oil exports, back when they were exporting oil, went to China. And China has a long-standing relationship. They recently signed a strategic partnership agreement with Iran. And flowing from that is military assistance and intelligence support. That alliance will carry on. China would like to continue to do that, but not lose the relationships they have with the Gulf states, with whom they're trying to build closer economic ties. So I think Xi Jinping is trying to play it both ways. He knows that the Gulf states don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon, and that call would certainly be true for the United States. It's why we have tried to induce Iran to negotiate in good faith. But at the same time, China will carry on this two-faced policy of assisting Iran at the same time.
All right, Dan Hoffman, President's on his way back from China right now. Thanks for jumping in and joining us with your analysis as he wraps up this trip.
Thanks, Jillian.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
Well, that was interesting, man. That was pretty interesting, bro. Oh, Spencer Pratt's knockout punch. Let's take a look, dude.
This is Asker Basura's park right here. Look at this. And that's the encampment where all the fentanyl addicts and dealers just post up next to it. And then that's the park. That's where...
This should be the knockout punch for Spencer Pratt. This is a playground put there for the purpose of little kids being able to go play. And what do we have instead? The homeless, which that term is of course a misnomer. More accurately, outdoor drug addict degenerate.
Yeah, that's no longer a playground for anybody to play on. Jesus.
I
Basul.
lived for 15 years in Venice, California. Ground zero for these people. I am telling you, this video of Pratt's is just one of probably thousands of spots he can go to and make a video just like this.
But remember, you guys, it's racist to point out that there's problems in LA. Just remember that, okay? It's racist. Dude, honestly, this is crazy, man. This is wild. Yeah, if anybody in LA is voting for Karen Bass right now, I don't know what to tell you. I think you're messed up in the head. I think you got mental problems. If you're voting for Karen Bass, I really believe you got mental problems.
Your wildest imagination cannot come close to illustrating the sheer destruction and misery these people cause. They ruin the lives of everyone around them.
Her dog died. She lost her home and she lost everything.
That's so fucked up, dude. Yeah, honestly, I am so sick of Karen Bass enabling people to be drug addicts. It's freaking terrible, dude. Karen Bass is awful. She's terrible, dude. Karen Bass is one of the worst, mayor in the country. I don't know who's, there's probably worse mayors, but Karen Bass is terrible, bro.
When is it going to be enough?
Also, don't forget about Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is a terrible governor, and the sad part is Democrats want him to run in 2028 for president, but that's going to be a bad idea, dude. The dude reminds me so much of Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, it's not even funny, bro. Not even funny, bro.
An overnight fire at a Venice bungalow, the latest in a string of dangerous incidents that is quickly making parts of Venice unlivable.
The chaos on the street it's unbearable.
This photo shows the owner weeping beneath the body of her beloved dog Togo wrapped in a sheet. The fire may have been arson. Firefighters telling local reporters they think someone threw something over the fence. Residents believe it was payback for recent incidents involving the homeless. There's a large tent encampment outside just across the street from Westminster Avenue Elementary.
We live with feces all around our...
That is insane. Insane. You guys are voting for... Less social workers, more police. Less social workers, more police. My God, if I could vote for Pratt, I so would. If I was living in LA or any part of California, or however, I would vote for Pratt. Pratt has my vote. Oh my God. Spencer Pratt's the man, by the way. If you guys love Spencer Pratt, if you guys think Spencer Pratt's going to win the LA mayor race, double tap your screen. Double tap your screen if you think that Spencer Pratt's going to win this, man. If you guys are tired of Karen Basul, double tap your screen.
Our house.
Imagine having to tiptoe around and never defend yourself in any way against the homeless. Because you go to work. And if they decide to burn your house down while you're gone, they'll never get caught for it and you're left to suffer.
That's fucking wild, dude. I don't, exactly. Adrian, I don't know how anybody could vote for Democrats at this point. The Democrat Party is so lost mentally. I mean, this shit just pisses me off, man. This pisses me off. I mean, this is happening under Karen Bass's watch. It's happening under Gavin Newsom's watch. Yeah. And the more videos that surface of all this crap that's going on in LA, if you live in LA and this doesn't piss you off, and if you're voting for Karen Bass, there is something mentally wrong with you. Mentally wrong with you.
It is reality. That is how I lived. That is how people in Venice live every day. Of course, this could all be cleaned up if people in charge cared enough to actually try. But compassion and empathy to them is of the societal...
Mark Sammons is saying, don't block me, boy. What are you talking about, dude? Karen is a Karen. He's a slob. Let's see. Newsom, not you. Yeah. Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom, man, they're terrible for California, dude. Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom are both terrible for California, in my opinion. I'm just surprised people vote for Democrats anymore. The Democrat Party is so warped, so messed up. Mark Salmon says crypto going to zero. You say it's probably not going to absolute zero. It's just a prediction, bud. Look, anything with an intrinsic value of zero, which crypto it has an intrinsic value of zero, anything with an intrinsic value of zero eventually goes to zero or near zero levels. It's not financial advice. It's just, honestly, it's financial education. It's for entertainment and educational purposes only. Crypto is grifto, okay?
Suicidal kind, as we see. Regular people call the police, and if you're lucky, they show up. Are any arrests made? Probably not, but on the rare occasion it happens, the person is back on the street causing mayhem again within hours. One time, I was walking past a public park by the beach, literally right here for your reference. A naked homeless guy was standing around cleaning his clothes or something, and kids were right over here.
My God. Like, look, I feel bad for homeless people, but if you're a drug addict and you're just constantly like if you're on drugs and getting naked in front of kids, that's screwed up, dude. That is beyond messed up. It's fucked up. Spencer Pratt wants to solve all these problems. Karen Bass has not solved these problems. If anything, Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom are just there for the optics. And here's the thing. A guy like Spencer Pratt is revealing the rot in L.A. The rot. And if people in L.A. actually want to vote for Karen Bass, they're morons. They're just stupid. You're just a stupid person. That's what I believe. I don't know what else to tell you.
Block over, follow me down here, right here, was a police officer. I told him what I just saw 10 seconds ago and that kids were right there. The officer shrugged and said, well, I'm sure he'll put something on soon. I could give you...
That is insane. And the police are complicit with this too. The police are complicit. Karen Bass probably told the police not to do anything for most of these situations. Mark Sammons is saying, do you realize even Dogecoin is 10,000 times its original cost? Well, that's fantastic. It doesn't mean that Dogecoin is worth a dime. Dogecoin is not worth anything, though. Intrinsically speaking, Dogecoin is worthless. Well, I mean, it's not a good investment because it's intrinsically worthless. See, I'm a value investor. And you're a Mark, I love you, bro, but you're a gambler and I'm actually an investor. That is our philosophies. If you're in crypto, you're a gambler. And that's okay. It's okay to admit if you're a gambler. There's nothing wrong with that. A little gambling every once in a while is kind of fun. I'm not encouraging it. Not an endorsement of gambling. I think that gambling for the most part is dumb. But yeah, do you. You do you. Mark Sammons, are you doing okay, bro?
You personal anecdotes for days. Everyone who lives in Los Angeles and isn't behind a guarded gate knows. No one is oblivious to this. Spencer Pratt is the first person to come along and run for office while telling everyone what they know. Finally! So yes, this video should be a knockout punch, but we know how hopelessly liberal Los Angeles is. If they do not take this once in a lifetime...
Dude, this is a great opportunity to finally get a mayor who wants to do something. Mark Salmons, I'm not showing my portfolio to you. My portfolio is filled with BDCs, REITs, international ETFs, U.S.-based ETFs. Tiny Lion Gaming says the Garza has returned. Yes, I have returned for the morning time. Oh, it is a crime to me. What's going on, my brony bros? You guys, don't forget to double tap your screen to like the stream. It does help the channel grow. We are a smaller channel. The more likes we get, the better. It does help us out on the algorithm. So do not forget to double tap your screen to like the stream. It really, really helps. Like I said, we're a smaller channel at the end of the day. We're trying to get bigger. More subscribers, the better, man. Or more likes, the better. So if you can subscribe too, that'd be great. But double tap the screen at the bare minimum. It really does help.
Time opportunity to slam on the brakes and turn the car around by electing Spencer Pratt. It's over.
I think electing Spencer Pratt's a no-brainer. I think electing Spencer Pratt is absolutely 100% a no-brainer. It should be, at least. But who knows, man? Who knows? Actually, what if I just kept this still? Uh-huh.
This is us care.
So Pratt is trailing by single digits. Oh my God. Spencer Pratt is making headway. Oh my God. And here's the thing. I think a lot of people who are participating in these polls for the mayor race are mainly Democrats. Spencer Pratt's an independent. I love what he's doing, man.
Showing political outsider, former reality TV star Spencer Pratt making huge strides in this race for LA mayor. The independent candidate gaining 12 points since March, now trailing Democrat incumbent Karen Bass by single digits. Pratt's campaign in next month's primary gaining traction with voters. He highlights LA's homelessness crisis and failed leadership. He does it very artfully with a ton of social media and some pretty powerful ads. I think have really helped this race for him quite a bit.
LA, for the first time in your life, stop living by the rule of thumb called suicidal empathy. Spencer Pratt's your boy, dude. Your boy. It's your boy. Come on, brother. I want Spencer Pratt to win, dude, so badly. I hope Spencer Pratt wins this election, bro. I want him to. He's amazing, man.
Uphill battle in L.A. to be sure. Let's bring in Jerry Baker, Wall Street Journal editor-at-large and Fox News contributor, and Yemisi Egbivole, former chief of staff to Biden White House press office and founder of Podium Strategies. Great to have both of you here. So obviously this has Mayor Karen Bass, Jerry, pretty nervous. And let's just pop up these numbers. You've got, for this race, you've got 1.2 Democrats in Los Angeles, 515,000 no party affiliation, and 326 who declare themselves as Republicans in Los Angeles. What are your thoughts on this, Jerry?
Yeah, this is fascinating to me, Martha. Look, we know Los Angeles is, and California in general, is heavily, heavily Democratic. As you say, you can see the numbers there. This is an overwhelmingly Democrat-dominated state and
it's
city.
A very woke
and,
place.
You know, to sort of paraphrase what Senator Kennedy was just saying to you, you could put a sort of a dead squirrel, as long as it had a D by its name, and it'd probably get elected.
Well, we got Uncle Chris in the house. We got, of course, my boy Tiny Lion Gaming. What up, everybody? Let's go, dude.
But you're seeing something pretty different now with this. It does look like voters are so fed up with the mismanagement and the corruption and the incompetence that we've seen from Democrats in control of California and its cities over the last 10, 20 years. The wildfires, of course, last year, which were greatly exacerbated by poor management, the crime, the homelessness that you talked about. There's a beginnings of a hunger. There's a hunger for change and the beginnings, perhaps, of a radical political revolution. And so Spencer Pratt comes along, this complete outsider, and he has no, you know, he's a Republican, obviously, but he talks about the issues that people are concerned about. As you say, he has this brilliant social media campaign with these incredibly sophisticatedly produced videos, and he's actually addressing voters' concerns. I think this is something. Look, is he going to win? He's still trailing Karen Bass, obviously, the top two from the primary going to the runoff in the general election. But it's exciting that he's actually promising something of a change in the political system.
It's pretty interesting. Let's just quickly play number 4. This is him talking about the debate, and the debates have helped him as well. Watch.
She looks over at me and she goes, "You've done this before." And I go, "A debate?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "No, it's my first one." She's like, "Oh, your first one like this?" I'm like, "No, my first debate ever." She's like, "You didn't do them at the university?" I was like, "No, I didn't do debates at the university." She's like, "Oh, wow." And I'm thinking to myself, lady, I'm going to eat you alive right now.
You ever see Democrats worried about this race? He's an independent, by the way.
I think they should be.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think they should be. I think that Karen Bass and Nithya Raman would do themselves a disservice to dismiss Spencer Pratt. Nithya Raman keeps trying to position herself as the DSA candidate as an outsider, like she's some activist screaming outside of City Hall, when in actuality, she is City Hall. She's been a city council member since 2020. She's had plenty of time to deal with the frustrations that I think Spencer Pratt has tapped into. And she's even gone so far as to call him a fascist. Well, if fascism is pointing out what's directly in front of your eyes, which are these homeless encampments, then I guess everybody in LA is a fascist. They really do have to figure out a way to message to the people who are going to be the voters without diminishing Spencer Pratt here.
All right, that's all we have time for, but come back next time. We'll talk about Javier Becerra.
Dude, Spencer Pratt, I think's winning, dude. I think Spencer Pratt's winning, dude. I just don't think there's anything else. I think what we're seeing, Spencer Pratt might make history, dude. When was the last time LA had a woke mayor? I mean, sorry, they've had woke mayors all the time. When was the last time Los Angeles did not have a Democratic mayor? Yeah, I don't think anybody's really voting for Mayor Bass. I hope not. If they are, they're dumb, you know. So the last time Los Angeles did not have a Democratic mayor was from 1993 to 2001. Hey, thank goodness, man. I think, honestly, I think that enough people in LA have to be pissed. Got to be pissed. Now, Trump says that the Taiwan policy remains unchanged despite Xi's warning, says Fox News on here.
Should the people of Taiwan feel more or less secure after your meetings with President Xi?
Neutral. Neutral. This
Has the policy changed at all?
No, nothing's changed.
So Tiny Line Gaming says, yeah, we're not your personal fucking personal assistance reason. Yeah, dude, facts. Tiny Line Gaming says, Annie. No, here's the thing, man. Reason. I'm not going to answer you, Reason. I'll acknowledge that you exist, but I'm not going to answer your questions. Because you're a low IQ buffoon. All right? So stop it.
U.S. policy.
No, nothing's changed. I will say this. I'm not looking to have somebody go independent and, we're supposed to travel 9,500 miles to fight a war. I'm not looking for that. I want them to cool down. I want China to cool down.
But you're waiting on approving billions of dollars of weapons for Taiwan.
That's right.
Is that
I'm
moving forward?
Well, I haven't approved it yet. We're going to see what happens.
What are you looking for?
I may do it. I may not do it.
Yeah, what's your hinge point?
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I may do it. I may not do it. But we're not looking to have wars. And if you kept it the way it is, I think China's going to be okay with that. But we're not looking to have somebody say, let's go independent because the United States is backing us.
Understood. That's the strategic ambiguity element of that. President Trump telling Brett Baer that the U.S. policy on Taiwan remains unchanged after meeting with China's President Xi in Beijing. It comes after Xi gave a warning to Trump that China and the U.S. could clash over Taiwan if the issue is not handled carefully. Joining us now is Heritage Foundation Senior Fellow and China and National Security expert Steve Yates. Steve, your thoughts about where we're at with Taiwan after that relatively, direct statement. Essentially, if we could pop out that full screen, President Xi that stressed that President Trump that Taiwan question is the most important issue in China-U.S. relations. If handled properly, the bilateral relationship will enjoy overall stability. Otherwise, the two countries will have clashes and even conflicts. So that was not reissued by President Xi, but it was issued prior to the meeting. Why?
Well, Brian, this is one of those things where, I've been involved in these meetings in and out of government for the last 40 years, and there's a version of this that comes in every senior exchange. It's the question of when and how. The foreign ministry under Xi Jinping is actually where the wolf warriors have come from in recent times, and that's a way of talking that is a bit more blunt, and it makes it easier for their diplomats to sound polite with their counterparts while China is still taking a fairly aggressive public position. But they have been consistently blunt in the Taiwan set of issues. And really, the president should be somewhat reassured. Taiwan hasn't been really declaring anything. The uptick in tension in the Taiwan Strait has been China putting blockade-like exercises out there pretty much since this former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, visited Taiwan.
So, Steve, we'll put up a map and we'll show you where China has been drilling really since 2024. This constantly happens to the point where they're almost used to it. In the beginning, it was jarring since the speaker decided to go with former speaker.
Here's the thing, China. Taiwan doesn't want to be a part of your stupidity. Taiwan doesn't want to be part of your communist regime. You want to know why? Because they know that communism sucks, and you clearly are living in the dark ages. They don't want to be part of your communist hellhole. Taiwan doesn't want anything to do with your communist your toxic communist beliefs, okay? Communism is a very toxic belief, by the way. Toxic as fuck. And to those of you who believe that communism is a good thing, I mean, you do you, boo. But god damn, bro.
Decide to go over there. And they haven't really stopped. Every time a high-ranking official goes there, they get all rattled. But we do have a couple of networks broadcasting from there. Here's what Marco Rubio said about China and Taiwan and what they understand.
They always raise that issue, and we understand they raise that issue. From our perspective, any forced change in the status quo and the situation that's there now would be bad for both countries. One of the things the Chinese emphasize, which we agree, is strategic stability in our relationship, a constructive relationship, but also one that establishes strategic stability so that we don't have misunderstandings that could lead to broader conflict.
Yeah, but it's not just us, Steve, that wants.
Marco Rubes, man. I do love my boy Rubes. I'm taking a look at the markets right now, man. The markets have dipped heavily, which I'm totally fine with, by the way. I love a red day. It's a good day to buy. Gold went down quite a bit. Let's see. Gold is down to 85 boners. Wow. Jeez. My gold. Yeah, I'll buy a little bit of gold here and there. I actually like having a position in gold, though, just because, especially when gold dips. Mainly because I think it's not financial advice by any means, but I think gold is great to have as a position. Gold and silver are great positions to have. Damn, dude, the VSS went down heavily, mightily today. Oh, my God. But it looks like it's pretty stable. Yeah, so far my positions are holding really well. But damn, dude, the Russell 2000, that went down. I might add on to my position a little bit further. Why not? Market sell, market buy. Market sell, market buy. Yeah, dude, honestly, I've done a pretty good job on my portfolio. It's looking sexy. But yeah, no, mainly silver's been my main dip buyer. Like, I love buying silver on the dip. Let's see. Yeah, I'll buy like one more share here. There we go. I like having a semi-strong position in silver, you know. There we go.
To make sure Taiwan has its sovereignty. Japan, South Korea, Australia, they all want that. Could you explain to people at home why it matters?
Well, it matters a great deal, and that was exactly right. Japan, I think, has been the biggest X factor in the direction of being clear that peace and stability, the status quo, freedom of navigation, all those things are vital to Japan's national interest. More than 50% of the world's global container shipping goes around the waterways proximate to Taiwan. Taiwan has one of the highest valued stock markets in the entire world, surpassing the United Kingdom recently. There is no
That's wild. And I think we need to protect Taiwan from the corruption of China. Protect Taiwan at all costs, man. Protect them completely. It's insane, man. Insane.
possible world in which China continues to engage in this blockade-like exercising, heaven forbid, actually strike the island of Taiwan, where we will have catastrophic drops in global markets within 24 hours.
Yep.
And so this is not a political issue. The way China is framing it, it is a geopolitical, geoeconomic issue
It's a huge
that
issue,
we
man.
need them to be
It's a
much more
huge
responsible about. And with that, the president is offering a golden alternative path.
Oh, yeah.
He
And
brought
hopefully he does.
companies to China whose
Without a
aggregate
doubt.
value comes close to that
Without a
of
doubt,
all of
bro.
China. So if they will choose this
yeah,
more
yeah,
moderate
yeah,
path
yeah.
of prosperity and cooperation, the president's saying, hey, we can do business in energy.
Right.
We've got these great companies. You need to open up. I thought the opening up theme was appropriate and good. But we just have to see what the follow-through
they gotta
is,
do something,
as
man.
some of your setup pieces were indicating.
Right.
We've been through big deals with China before. The catch is always in the follow-through.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, think about what China looks, anyone looking at Taiwan, what China could be if they just had democratic principles and beliefs as opposed to.
And here's the problem. China's communistic beliefs are what make other countries not trust China. It's because of their communistic beliefs that make other countries wary of wanting to trust China in any way, shape, or form. And I can't say I blame a lot of countries for not wanting to trust China. People don't like communism, dude. Communism is terrible. It's just awful. So I think everybody's aware of that, hopefully.
To the brutal communism that they live under. That little island outproduces most of the world. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Steve.
Yeah, and by the way, if China took over Taiwan, that would ruin Taiwan because China has communistic principles. And Taiwan's markets would go down because China's ineffective. China is already screwing up their own economy. Even their youth hates living in China. You want to know why? Because they know that communism doesn't work. They see most of the youth in China see how free places like America are, and they think to themselves, wow, China blows because of its government. China is a beautiful place. The government is not a beautiful. The government itself in China is not beautiful. I mean, I think it's pretty simple. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing to say. If anything, I think it's probably one of the most sane things I've ever said. But you know me, man. I do my thing. I do my thing.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah, it's kind of an S show, man. It really is a bit of a shit show down there. And I think, look, Taiwan doesn't want to have anything to do with China. Taiwan doesn't. And I can't say that I blame them. Annie is saying, let's see. Let's see. How do you know that I'm not a grifting Democrat? Well, it's pretty easy. I mean, I hate communism, so no, I don't know. You have no reason to trust me. I could be a Fed for all you know. I don't care. I don't really care if you trust me or not. I'm just out here spitting my truth. I don't really, at the end of the day, I don't really care if people trust me or not. All I know is I just want to speak my truth because I have a lot that goes on in my mind. So I use YouTube as a vessel to get my opinions out. It's fun to get the opinions out. It really is. Oh, wow. Jerome Powell's tenure as the Fed chair comes to a close. Let's take a listen.
I put together what I think are some defining charts for his term. And when it comes to any Fed chair, really, it has to start with inflation, right? One of the two mandates for the Fed is to keep prices in check. And here is what it looked like over Powell's tenure. You know, no real problems. And then coming out of COVID, we saw this spike where CPI, consumer price inflation, went all the way up to 9%, and then it was brought back down. Now, was Fed Chair Powell a little late to be serious about the inflationary threat and hike interest rates? Some would argue yes. Was transitory wrong? Yes, that's a mistake that he noted. However, he forcefully acted when it became clear that price inflation was sticking around and was getting serious, and they saw the tightest monetary policy that we've seen since the Volcker era, and it has come down. Now look at that little tick up recently. That's the Iran war, and that's the sort of challenge that the next Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, is presented with. I also want to show you CPI versus unemployment, because everyone thought that when it came to that spike in inflation there, it would be almost impossible for the Fed to get a hold of it without causing a recession or without causing a big spike in the unemployment rate. But if you look at what happened with the unemployment rate in the orange line,
it did tend to go down, man. The unemployment rates appeared to go down. That's pretty good.
it's really been stable. It only ticked up a little bit. This is the soft landing. Remember, we were always debating every day, can you do it with a soft landing? 2022, that was the debate, right? There's no way he can get the soft landing because he has to raise interest. Remember, at one point there it was a triple rate hike. He raised rates 75 basis points, and yet they achieved the soft landing.
Somehow came out of it with no problem. That's pretty impressive, if you ask me, man. It is pretty wild to come out of that with very little problems. I'll admit that's pretty impressive, but I'm still not a fan of the Fed. I'm not a fan of the Federal Reserve. I wish that part of me wants money to be backed by gold again. But at this point, the only thing you could do is save your assets, not your cash. Cash is worthless. It's not backed by anything. So the whole goal is just to save all your assets, not your cash. That's not financial advice, but it's pretty sound. Anybody worth their salt will understand I'm right.
Landing. We did not see a spike in the unemployment rate. The other one I'll tell you about is the balance sheet, which of course is also widely debated, but encapsulates, I think, really one.
Well, if the Federal Reserve is a private company, then why are they so involved with the government? Like, they might as well be a government entity at this point. I know they're a private company, but the way they act, it's almost like they're a government entity. You know what I mean? You got me looking so crazy right now. Your touch got me looking so crazy right now. So crazy your love's got me looking on you, got me so crazy your love. Uh-oh, yo, the flow is loco. Uh-oh. Okay, they call me the one and only. Stick bony, but my pockets are fat like Tony. Sing though, if anything, I bling yo.
One of the greatest feats, which was saving the global economy from a depression during the depths of COVID. The balance sheet went from $4 trillion up to $9 trillion. This is essentially the Fed buying everything, from treasuries to mortgages to remember, they were just injecting liquidity into the system in a giant way. Now, some would argue it caused inflation, it caused inequality. This is definitely a topic for debate, and it's something that Fed Chair Warsh wants to bring down. But it also is the story of the stabilization, I think, of finance. Remember what was happening? Treasury markets were not functioning well. Markets were seizing up. Oil went below zero. Remember, that was like a crazy period. And so this was the response to that. And so I think these are the key elements when you talk about what he's been through: the COVID saving, the inflation fighting. That really tells the story.
And of course, his defense of the Fed as an independent agency, I think some argue that will be his long-lasting legacy.
I think his major legacy is the defense of the Fed as an independent agency throughout attacks from.
I say my opinion is end the Fed. End the Fed, bro. That's my opinion, at least. But what do you guys think? End the Fed or what?
President Trump and ultimately a criminal investigation. I did put together a little highlight reel of some of Powell's greatest hits on independence.
Right now.
Independence is what allows us to do our jobs. It is so important for our economy, for the people that we serve, that they can depend over time on a central bank that operates that way, free of political influence. We're always going to do the same thing, which is we're going to use our tools to foster maximum employment and price stability for the benefit of the American people. This new
I feel like the Fed, it feels like rigging to me. Rigging. And the Fed can only last so long doing this. I just feel like it's a manipulation of the free markets. I'm not a fan of the Federal Reserve at all. I think the Federal Reserve just shouldn't exist, if we're going to be quite frank. But yeah, the Federal Reserve may be a private company, but it is far too involved with the government. I don't like it. I just, they have too much power. Too much bloody power, man.
threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. After my term as chair ends on May 15, I will continue to serve as a governor for a period of time to be determined. I've said that I will not leave the board until this investigation is well and truly over with transparency and finality, and I stand by that.
Fed Chair Powell standing firm against, the insults. He never shot back. He just said we are independent of political pressure and we are going to do our job for the American people. And when it came down to even the criminal investigation, and even now where he I think would like to see this completely finalized and the threat go away before stepping off as governor, but clearly
Yeah, I'm still not a fan of Jerome Powell. I'm not a fan of the Federal Reserve. I just don't think that they're good entities. I don't think the Fed is a good entity. I don't think Jerome Powell, I don't trust him. I don't trust anybody who works at the Federal Reserve, to be honest. But, whatever. That's just my opinion. Just an opinion.
standing his ground.
Yeah. Meantime, we've cut, a couple hundred basis points in the last year. The 10-year at a more than 1-year high yield today. As we get closer to 4.6, the long bond is going to have its highest weekly settle in 19 years.
Because the story of this week has been hotter inflation prints, from CPI to PPI, inflation expectations rising a little bit as we wonder how long the war is going to last and how much that oil price shock is going to filter into other prices like airfares and everything else, which we're seeing show up. I just think the final chart on the Powell 10-year is the market, is the S&P 500, where 169% total return for the S&P 500 in Powell's term definitely puts him up there as one of the best Fed chairs for the stock market. It's hard to compete with Greenspan since he was there for 19 years during that also included the tech boom. But if you annualize those returns, which is maybe a more fair, even way to do it, Powell is the winner by far. Now, this is also the subject of fierce debate. A lot of people think that it exacerbated inequality and that it was good for the rich and that, that's not a good measure.
Or at least ask people who own.
Think about it. It was good for the rich. You see, the thing is, I'm fine with rich people existing because if you're going to invest intelligently, then you're good. Here's the thing, man. Invest, invest, invest. If the government can print it, it's not worth saving. The government can print the dollar. Why would you save a dollar? The best thing you could do is invest those dollars, trade those dollars for assets. Trade the dollars for assets, bro. Because the dollar is worth nothing. At the end of the day, the dollar is worthless, completely bloody worthless. And I think a lot of people know this. I'd like to believe a lot of people know this. I hope a lot of people do. But do they? I don't know.
Own assets.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you think the market is any kind of indication of the economy and sentiment, Powell's had a very good run. on that front.
Yeah, we'll see how things begin to change at the Fed on Monday as Warsh has his first official day.
Oh, no. I'm not a fan of Jerome Powell at all, dude. Not a fan of the Federal Reserve at all. Okay, let's see. All right, give me a moment, you guys. Give me a moment, please. Okay. Let's see. Give me a moment. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Why unfreeze assets? Let's take a look.
I don't think there'll be a reconciliation 3. I think ultimately.
Yeah, Iran does not deserve, the Iranian government does not deserve to have any kind of assets, period, end of story. Period, end of story.
Ultimately, we're going to run out of time. So I think this is really going to be our last opportunity as we go into the summer to get major funding done. That again, that goes through some sort of appropriations process. And this idea that there'll be a reconciliation 3, I'm skeptical.
Met with Speaker Johnson earlier this week, and he also said he's pushing to be able to get that reconciliation package done by July. That may be possible in the House to be able to get that done, but it takes a month for us to be able to do it in the Senate. To get that done in the Senate is not possible by the end of July. It is not impossible to do a reconciliation 3.0 in November and December. That is more likely, I believe, to be able to get it finished up there, because there are things that still need to be done.
And that is Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles and Oklahoma Senator James Lankford with me this week, both skeptical that the GOP will be able to pull off a third reconciliation package before the midterms, as House Speaker Mike Johnson is pushing to pass one before the House's August recess, which would be on a deadline of July 23rd. The measure would include affordability provisions, social program fraud crackdowns, defense money, as far as the Iran-related funding, as Republicans are forced to focus on immigration enforcement funding for their current second package, which is expected to be on the president's desk by June 1st. Joining me now is California Congressman Ro Khanna. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And as you know, your colleagues on the Republican side are being forced to rely on reconciliation to do appropriations. I mean, they've got to fund an important priority as immigration and
God, Ro Khanna, dude, he's just, ugh. He's about as Democrat as you can get, dude. He's about as Democrat as you can get.
Enforcement, but because you and your colleagues won't work with them at all, they've got to use reconciliation to do that. Isn't that irresponsible?
Well, they already have $75 billion for ICE over 4 years. We want certain reforms so that Americans aren't harassed by ICE officers, so that people's basic rights are upheld. I think most Americans want a secure border, but they don't want ICE raids in their cities. And that.
I think you'd be surprised. I think people kind of are okay with those things. I think the problem with Democrats is I feel like Democrats just feel pretty disconnected from reality half the time. And it's frustrating because whenever you hear them, it's just like, ugh. Democrats are frustrating in general. Their philosophies are crazy, in my opinion. So that's the way I see it.
That is really the debate, and they should work to compromise so that we can move forward.
But, I mean, how much pressure can you put on this president at this point? I mean, you are just voting on everything against the president. The Democrats can't stand President Trump. Do you see a time to start working together?
Absolutely. But, you know, one of the things the president should do is end this war. I mean, 3 Republicans voted with us to end the war. Here's why the war is really hurting us. You talked about the Fed not cutting rates. Part of the reason they can't cut rates is because of the war and prices. And what does that mean? Higher mortgages, higher credit card interest rates, higher student loans. And then you see the cost of food and the cost of gas and the cost of farmers of urea, ammonia, and nitrogen and their fertilizers. Let's end this war to bring down prices.
Yeah, the president is trying to end the war. He's been trying to end the war for a couple of weeks now.
Well, the reason he's trying to, he doesn't want any additional bloodshed. Trump is like, look, I can obviously order the military to just end all of this, but he would rather come to a peaceful resolution. It's very simple. And if you don't realize what Trump is trying to do, he's trying not to kill anybody. He's trying not to have any more unnecessary deaths. Trump is doing the right thing. Got it? Get it.
He keeps thinking that it's close to being over. He told me that a couple of times. And yet the Iranians keep coming back with a refusal to end their nuclear weaponry program. Are you saying that you're okay with Iran having a nuclear weapon?
I think that's exactly what Ro Khanna is saying. I mean, that's what I think he's saying. Look, I think Ro Khanna is very, he's ridiculous, is all I'm going to say.
I am not. And, of course, we need to negotiate to get their enriched uranium out. We've had these conversations before about the JCPOA and how President Obama got 97% out. I don't want to relitigate it, but the point is that there are a lot of people who want to see a negotiated settlement. I hope you talk to Xi Jinping about his involvement in getting a negotiated settlement, get the enriched uranium out, keep the Strait of Hormuz open, and make sure that the war ends, because it's literally hurting American farmers, American consumers, price of food, price of gas, and it's preventing the Fed from doing what the president wants, which is cut rates. I mean, cutting rates would help the economy. They can't do that.
I think cutting rates is a little overrated. And granted, I mean, look, if the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates, I mean, not going to lie, that would make my portfolio pop like crazy. Because everybody would be getting into stocks. At that point, they'd be borrowing money to get into stocks. Granted, that's fine. I mean, it'd pop my portfolio up and make it easier for me to sell some of my initial swing trades and stuff, you know, because I'm constantly swing trading the volatility. But, you know, whatever.
While this war is ongoing and inflation is high.
Right. No, and I think that's why the president is trying to end it, certainly, to get the price of those commodities lower, oil, gas, and fertilizer as well. But, of course, we did litigate this, and we already went through this before, that President Obama actually sent Iran money.
Trump's the man,
as opposed to actually President Trump trying to stop them from having a nuclear weapon. But I want to get your take on what China said, because the president is making news right now. He just spoke on Air Force One to reporters, and he said that China agreed to buy 200 Boeing planes with the potential commitment.
I mean, that is pretty cool that they agreed to buy that many planes. That's crazy.
Of buying 750 jets. He also said that China agreed to buy soybeans, and he said that he would consider lifting sanctions on Chinese companies purchasing oil but no decision has been made yet. Now, the president said that he did get a commitment from Xi Jinping that China would buy oil from America. We don't know if they're going to keep that promise, but he said they're going to send Chinese ships to Louisiana and Texas to buy American oil. And then on Taiwan, there were other things said, but let me get your take on those deals right now. What is your assessment of this trip?
Sure. I just have to say, for the record, my view is that President Obama didn't give money to Iran. He unfroze Iranian assets. But we can have.
Here's the thing, though. If we allow Xi Jinping in China to take over Taiwan, that's not good. Because then China is going to take their dystopian philosophy, bring it over to Taiwan, and ruin Taiwan. Look, I don't think China realizes how dark and dystopian their philosophy is. That communism is not a good thing. And that communism leads to authoritarianism. Because most communists, if not all, communists are basically authoritarian in nature. Communists are very authoritarian in nature. They want to tell you what to do. They want to tell you what to think. You need to act in a predefined way. That's what communism's all about. And that's why I don't really care for communism. Or if you're a hardcore communist, man,
have that conversation some other time. Let me say on Boeing, I'm glad that China is buying their Boeing planes, but they're only buying.
But Congressman, wait, why unfreeze assets? Why give Iran, the leading state sponsor of terrorists, $2 billion?
Yeah, don't unfreeze their assets, dude. Keep them frozen. Iran doesn't deserve anything.
So that they could go give that money to the proxies that they support, like Hezbollah and Hamas. Why unfreeze?
Exactly. And Maria's spot on with this. Why would you do that?
Freeze money.
It was Iranian money that was unfrozen for 97% of enriched uranium to get out of the country.
Dude,
President Trump tore that deal up. Now there's tons of enriched uranium.
They never made a commitment
to
stop building a weapon. So why send them $1.7 billion when you didn't even have a commitment to stop building a weapon? You yourself said you don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
Well, just so we're factual, he didn't send them money. It was their money that was unfrozen. I acknowledge it was unfrozen.
Matter. Why unfreeze
what we got
it?
out of it is...
why would you unfreeze it, Rokana?
Other people say it wasn't their money, it was stolen money, but that's fine. Let's say it is their money. Why unfreeze the money? That you never got a commitment that they would stop building a nuclear weapon. Why are you sending them $1.7 billion so that they could go...
Yeah. Don't unfreeze the Iranian money. That's where... I mean, Maria, spot on, dude. Rokana... You are on the losing side of history every fucking time, I swear, dude. The Democrats are on the losing side of history every fucking time.
Go give it to Hamas.
He got a commitment for 15 years, 97% enriched uranium out. Instead, what did we get? We had them having 60% enriched uranium when Trump tore up the deal. We had 13 American service members dead. We have Americans paying $4 at gas. We have food prices. Let me just finish, Maria. Let me finish, please.
Are you talking about the botched exit from Afghanistan? When
but
we
that has
lost
nothing to do with Iran.
That was Joe Biden.
The botch exit.
That was Joe Biden.
That was. But look at the facts.
Oh my God, Rokana is so insufferable, dude. This guy is so freaking insufferable. If you guys think that Rokana is if you guys think the Democrats are just on the losing side of history in general, double tap your screen. If you guys got Democrat fatigue like I do, double tap your screen. If you guys think that Democrats just have daddy issues, I mean, double tap your screen, man.
Here, because Trump tore up the deal, Americans are dead. Americans are paying more for food. Americans are paying more for gas. The Strait of Hormuz is less secure, and the war is unpopular. 70% of Americans don't want this war. Even Republicans are defecting.
But nobody wants war, but we also don't want a nuclear terrorist.
But let's talk about China.
We don't want a nuclear terrorist to have a nuclear weapon, okay? We don't want a terrorist.
And Obama was on the road to achieving that.
No way. He didn't achieve anything. Obama did squat.
We can talk about...
Obama did squat.
That's not true.
Oh, Maria's right. Maria's right. And if anything, Obama was just as... You guys keep claiming that Trump is a warmonger. Did you guys even remember Obama's track record, please? Like, the level of hypocrisy from the Democrats blows my mind. Everybody's a hypocrite at some point in their lives. But the Democrats are just insane to me. Freaking sane, bro.
Come on. He unfroze all that money. Look, let's get to Taiwan. He unfroze the money. He gave the money to Iran. What did they do with the money? They gave it to Hamas, Hezbollah, and then they committed atrocities on Israel.
He should have built on the JCPOA instead of ripping it up and getting us into war. He promised us no wars, and he didn't want to go into this war.
So in other words,
actually, he didn't start the war. Iran started this war a long time ago. You know what Donald Trump decided to do? He's like, let's finish this. This isn't new. Iran's government has been a piece of garbage for a long time. And in actuality, Trump is just finishing what Iran started. Every other president said they would go after Iran in the past. Trump just had the cojones to actually do it. And honestly, the military strategy that they've been using has been very effective. And I think this war is going to end very, very shortly. You do realize that you do realize that, right? There were wars under the Obama administration. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. You can't be serious. There were wars under the Obama administration. You kidding me? There absolutely were. No, dude. Iran's government is terrible. Why should... I'm not going to apologize. Iran's government is absolutely horrible.
You trust Iran. In other words, you trust Iran.
No, I don't.
You think Iran's going to keep their promises then?
I like the Trump who was
I don't trust Iran for crap, dude.
running in 16 and 20 and 24 saying, I don't want more wars. I don't want Americans dying in these wars. I don't want Americans paying for Iran. And who cared more?
Like I said, Iran started this war a long time ago. And American presidents time and time again have said they were going to go after Iran, but never did. Trump actually took action. And the thing that Democrats hate the most is when somebody takes action who doesn't believe what they believe, and they're actually more successful. Trump is successful. You guys may not like to hear that because you all have TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, but Trump has been ultimately successful in these efforts. So you went to grad school for history? That doesn't mean anything. Clearly you didn't learn anything. I don't know. No. Just because you went to grad school doesn't mean that you're more intelligent than me. If anything, it means you're more susceptible than I am. No, but here's the thing. Iran has been terrible for a long time. Iran's government has. They've done terrible things. Yeah, just because the Strait of Hormuz is closed doesn't mean anything. No, I am being serious. Just because you went to grad school doesn't mean diddly squat. If you're siding with the Democrats on this one, and you say you're educated and you went to grad school, you're not educated. If anything, you're indoctrinated. There's a difference between education and indoctrination. Sanmi, you are indoctrinated into the Democratic philosophy, which is an awful one at that.
About Toledo than Tehran. I mean, how about building our manufacturing, investing in our people instead of getting in these foreign wars?
Oh, he is.
It's hurt the American people.
Investing in our people. He did no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime.
Trump is a man of the people, by the way. Trump is the man of the people. That's all I got to say.
Would you move to try to overturn that should you get the majority in? Are you going to try to stop the agenda, the Trump agenda, should the Democrats get the majority in November?
I don't think we'd blanket start to overturn everything that he did. If he did something that was reasonable, like pharmaceuticals. Well, I want to overturn the tax breaks to the billionaires and rather have money going to the working and middle class in this country.
Okay. That's what I thought.
I don't think billionaires should have tax breaks.
Yeah.
But let's talk about China. You know, fine.
I'm glad that China's buying. I want to talk China in a second. I definitely want to talk China in a second. But let me just ask you this, because we just did this story. We just did this story in New York, how Kathy Hochul is moving the threshold down. You're going to pay a pied-à-terre tax if you have a second home in New York, not if your house is worth $5 million. No. Your house is valued at $1 million. Then you're going to pay a pied-à-terre tax if you have a second home in New York. Do you agree with that?
That's terrible.
Yes, because you know what I believe, Maria, that the economy in this country is unfair and lopsided. Too few people.
Oh my God. Ro Khanna. The level of stupidity that comes from Ro Khanna, I can't, dude. What is wrong with this gentleman?
People, including in my district,
the top 1% pay 45% of the tax in New York. The top 1% pay the majority of taxes in this country. You know it, and I do.
Yep,
Maria, let me say this, and you may agree with me. Look, you can't have a country where a few people in a few places control the majority of the nation's wealth. That's not a democracy, and it's not sustainable.
No,
in world history.
We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. Stop it.
You've seen revolution when that happens. In Silicon Valley, you have 19 billionaires who have 12% of the economy. So what I'm saying is if America has been good to you, if America has been...
Those are his people, by the way.
Good to you, you can do good for America. You can pay a little bit of tax so people have health care, child care, a living wage.
They do, actually. They pay a lot more in taxes than they should, in my opinion. I honestly think that billionaires should pay less in taxes.
And they do. I know plenty of billionaires. All they do is spend money. Hey, I know plenty of billionaires. All they do is spend money on health care.
Do you not believe that we have a wealth in
hospitals? They spend money to education. They spend money on the arts. They send all their money, and they send all.
They distribute. You know, it's funny. A lot of these rich guys actually donate to a lot of charities. They do a lot of good things. In fact, if anything, I would rather their wealth go to actual charities than to go to the government. Because the government is going to waste that money in some way, shape, or form. The government is the king of waste and abuse, all right? I don't trust the government. That's why I'd rather billionaires just give most of their money away to charities instead of the government. Actually, by the way, it is only a partial democracy, just to let you know. A constitutional representative republic is a partial democracy. You want to know why? Because at the federal level, decisions are not made by the whole nation. They're made by representatives. Yes, democratically elected representatives at that. But at the end of the day, the decisions that are ultimately made on the federal level are not made by the entire nation. They're made by representatives from each state and senators from each state. So yeah, we're not a full-on democracy, moron.
All their money to all of these nonprofits. I know plenty of billionaires that do just that.
But they have an obligation to pay some tax so that we can have the public goods.
St. Jude's. There are plenty of charities that have done more for sick people than the government programs. Many. Plenty. There are plenty of hospitals that are not for profit that have done great because they get charitable contributions.
Healthcare, childcare, and education. Pay the majority of it.
But they're not.
The rich pay the majority of the tax in this country.
Warren Buffett has said.
No, you're mixing up words. That's not true. He was talking about capital gains tax.
Let me just finish.
I know exactly what Warren Buffett said.
Why is capital gains?
Warren Buffett was talking about capital gains taxes. He was not talking about income taxes. I know exactly.
Yeah, it's a different story. That is different.
Saying he pays less tax.
No, because
he
he's
pays
not
less
paying
tax
a
than his
salary.
teachers
He's not getting a
and farmers.
salary. He's not getting
And that's
income.
most
He's
of the
going
billionaires.
He gets it from capital gains, and capital gains should get taxed less.
Stock.
And that's
because
most of the
he's talking
billionaires
about
in this country.
capital
It's not
gains
fair.
You're mixing up taxes.
I love how he says it's not fair. It's completely fair. You know what Warren Buffett did? He invested early, and he got rewarded for it. That's fair. If you want to be like Warren Buffett, invest. Fucking learn to live below your means and stop being a victim. This is my problem with Democrat line thinking. It's victim thinking. Democrats have a victim thinking. So, God, Ro Khanna is, he's like, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's absolutely fair. If people did what Warren Buffett did and invested and bought businesses and stuff and actually succeeded, he took a risk, by the way. Investing is a risky game, and he got rewarded because he did it right. That's completely fair. If you start a business and you become a billionaire, that's fair because you took the time to put the work in, and if people out there don't take the time to put the work in, then they don't deserve it either. They don't deserve it. The Democrats don't believe in responsibility, and they don't believe in building anything. They don't believe in building anything. They don't believe in investing. They don't understand investing. They don't understand finance. I don't even think Democrats understand capitalism. And that's that's why they think that socialism works, because they're too stupid to understand capitalism. Boom. I'm serious. The more I hear from people like Ro Khanna, the more I start to think that liberalism is a mental illness.
About taxes, don't try it. You're mixing up taxes. You got
Maria,
capital gains tax and you got income state tax.
Yeah, so would you agree that we shouldn't have, in this kind of wealth inequality in an AI world, which is...
It's okay to have wealth inequality. There's nothing wrong with having wealth inequality. If I want to start a business and become a billionaire, I have every right to try. Now, if I fail, it's on me. If I succeed, it's on me too. You shouldn't. If you have a cap on wealth and if you have social contracts in a society, you're no better than China. You're basically China 2.0. And I think the Democrats want to turn the United States into China 2.0 by implementing social contracts and implementing caps on wealth. I think that both are stupid as fuck. Idiots.
Capital bias, that we shouldn't have millionaires plus having less rates on capital gains than someone who's a teacher or a farmer or a machinist is paying on their W-2s.
I don't want to crush investment. I want people to encourage. I want people to feel encouraged to buy and invest into.
Dude, there are so many idiot leftists in my chat. There's so many idiotic leftists in my chat right now. I can't even look at the chat. I'm just ignoring the chat. I'm ignoring the chat completely. Because my entire chat has been filled with annoying socialist leftists who don't know anything about capitalism, and these people think that socialism works. How dumb are they?
The markets and put it in their 401k.
And by the way, there's nothing wrong with wealth inequality. There's nothing wrong with it. Because a lot of these billionaires, by the way, they are creating wealth because they're creating services and products that are very effective and help people. Okay?
Way to create wealth overall long term is to invest in the stock market. That's 100%. I believe that the way to long term wealth creation.
Yeah, but 50% of people don't do that.
Well,
it's because they're idiots. Ro Khanna. They have by the way, 50% of people have every opportunity to invest in the stock market. They do. If you make an income, if you can at least delay your gratification, maybe take 10% of your income and live below your means for a bit, you can invest like I do. There is nothing stopping anyone from investing. Ro Khanna, you just want everybody to be a victim like you. Oh my God, Ro Khanna, my blood pressure's rising because Ro Khanna is just that dumb. Allegedly.
Do it in their 401k plans. More people than you know are invested in equities, and they don't even know it.
Yeah, if you have a 401k, you're invested in equities. Exactly. So Americans are investing in those all the time. Oh. Annie, you're a stronger person than I am. I'll tell you that. But yeah, everybody has the opportunity to invest like I do. There is nothing stopping you from investing. You could sign up for Robinhood. You could sign up for Webull. You could sign up for mother effing Schwab. And you can get an individual account, throw some money in there, and start investing. There's nothing stopping you. The only thing stopping you is your victim mentality. You have this, all you Democrats have this stupid victimized mentality that everybody's a victim because I'm a victim. It's the party of projection. It is the party of projection. And this is why I don't vote Democrat, because I believe that Democrats, it's the mental patients running the asylum at this point. And the Democrat Party is so far gone, I can't take them seriously. Larson Christopher says corporate bankruptcies change debt. Absolutely. But no, I think a lot of Democrats are just victims. They want to be victims. In fact, they try to be victims, it feels like, because there's a currency in being a victim. Seriously, it's the victim Olympics. Who is more of a victim, me or you? Look, I could, I'm not going to lie. I want to pull this card a little bit. I could say that I'm a victim for being part Mexican. I could say that I'm a victim for being mildly autistic. I basically have Asperger's syndrome. I don't let it define me, though. I don't let those things define me. I could say that I'm a victim because of those things. I'm part minority. I am, because I'm part Mexican. The point I'm trying to make is this. I don't see myself as a victim the same way that Democrats do. There are several things that I could point to, especially with the anxieties that I have, especially with a lot of the issues that I've had to face in my life. I could have bent a knee and not even tried and just say, I can't do it because of this, this, and this. But I don't live that way. That's not my mentality. I don't want to be a Democrat victim. So I don't vote Democrat because, one, they're the party of the victim. They just want to be victims. Now, granted, there are times where people are legitimately victims in this life from things that they can't control. But you can't live in a victimized mentality your whole life. And this is why I think the Democrat Party's toxic, because they want people to be victims. They want you. They almost encourage it, if anything. Because look how many gold stars I get for me being a victim. Yeah. If I really wanted to, I could play the Democrat card. I could be a victim. But I choose not to be because I have better things to do in my life than be a victim. Enough said.
90% aren't in market.
I think you know I'm right.
Real quick before you go. We got to go real quick on China, because on Taiwan, President Trump said he made no commitment. And as soon as the president got to China, you know what happened. Xi Jinping tried to set the table, tried to run the table by saying any mishandling of the Taiwan situation will mean conflict between the U.S. and China, and it will mean a very dangerous situation. So I ask you, do you believe the U.S. should change its position on Taiwan and actually back Taiwan?
I think we should affirm the one China policy, but we should have made it very clear there to Xi Jinping that the United States will not stand for any provocation militarily on Taiwan, and that they cannot continue to be militarily coercive. Now, I'm glad that the president got 200 Boeing jets, but the reason Boeing's stock fell yesterday is because in 2017, President actually got 300 Boeing jets, and the expectation was 5.
Vertical potato farming can 4 times the yield? Absolutely. That'd be awesome, dude.
But the biggest thing I'm concerned about, Maria, on a bipartisan basis, is there is no way China should hold us monopoly with rare earths. We need to get a commitment that they will never do that again. They should not be holding this world monopoly.
100%.
I appreciate the back and forth. I always enjoy it.
Me too. I love talking with you. Congressman, you're a good man, and we appreciate
I don't think he's a bad man, but my God, he's infuriating, dude. Infuriating.
I'd eat my Wheaties before I see you, though, that's for sure. Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you. Congressman Ro Khanna.
Thank
All
you.
right, we'll be right back.
Oh, goodness. Kamala Harris radical playbooks. Oh, God.
All right, so failed presidential candidate Kamala Harris is getting backlash over a possible playbook for the Democratic Party ahead of the midterm elections.
God, everything Kamala Harris touches turns to crap. My God. Unbelievable, man.
This November, she laid out her ideas on a Win with Black Women podcast, offering what some would consider some pretty radical proposals. Here's how she laid it out.
This is a moment where there are no bad ideas. A no bad idea brainstorm is what I'd like to call it.
Oh, there are such things as bad ideas. There are. It's good to come up with ideas, even if they're bad ideas. But then after you come up with all your ideas, you got to figure out, okay, which ones are effective and which ones are not. Holy crap, dude. I can't with her.
And in that no bad ideas brainstorm, we talk about what we need to do and think about doing around the Electoral College.
There are such things as bad ideas. Please remember that.
We talk about the idea of Supreme Court reform, which includes expanding the Supreme Court. Let's talk about statehood for Puerto Rico and D.C.
So those aren't new ideas. Those ideas.
Oh, my God.
Have been around for quite some time, and conservatives are slamming this playbook online. One critic calling it online staffer brain rot. Another blasting Harris, no bad ideas, as just that, bad ideas. And another says that abolishing the Electoral College wouldn't have helped her win the presidency. She lost the popular vote as well.
Nobody wants to vote for her. She is the most unlikable candidate of all time. She is the most unlikable candidate ever. Period. End of story. Yeah, she's out of her mind, dude.
Just to remind everyone, Kamala Harris got 226 electoral votes, 226 to Donald Trump's 312. Kaylee, let me start with you on this. You know, the Democrats obviously trying to figure out how to win.
Yeah.
And I'm just watching this sort of rewind here of this playbook and these ideas, which really strike me as I'm thinking to myself, so if you change Electoral College, you add, you know, those seats in Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, just to name a few, Supreme Court, none of these are ideas that do anything for people, for voters. They're all process politics kind of ideas.
They're naked political calculations. And I wish Republicans, this is going to be, I guess, newsflash, would be a little more like Kamala Harris. And I say that because I wish they would have a no bad ideas brainstorm session, because right now they have a lot of bad ideas.
Well, here's the thing. Throw ideas out on the table, but call out certain ideas that are bad. For example, if they start saying that, hey, let's implement socialism on a massive scale. Okay, well, that's a bad idea. That is a bad idea. It's okay to throw ideas out on the table and people be like, that's stupid. Or it seems smart, you know? Not every idea that you throw on the table is a good idea. So there are such things as bad ideas. There are things that just don't work. Okay. Oh, Hillary is more unlikable. Oh, yeah, Hillary's terrible, dude.
They're sitting there watching Kamala Harris say, I'm going to eliminate the filibuster. In order to do what she wants, she would have to do that. Pack the Supreme Court, D.C., Puerto Rico states. Guess who said that last week? AOC said that last week. There are no more, newsflash Republicans, Kirsten Sinema's to stop Democrats from nuking the filibuster. Newsflash, there are no more moderate Democrats outside of John Fetterman to stop them. There's no more Joe Manchins. Every single senator, in my mind, that is a Democrat, will put into place and mechanize exactly what she is saying. James Carville has told me to my face. So, yes, it is a naked political calculation, but it's time for Republicans to have some naked political calculations, because when the shoe's on the other foot, and mark my words, it will be, they will do each and every one of those things.
Do you think they should eliminate the filibuster now?
Absolutely.
Republicans?
Absolutely. They should follow Mike Lee, Ron Johnson, Rick Scott, some of the strongest voices.
Just get rid of the filibuster, man. Why not? Hell yeah. Might as well.
Out there saying they're going to do this. We should do this now. And the president, I would add.
Carly, what do you think?
Well, I think it would be a very bad idea for Democrats and even for Kamala Harris herself to run for president again. And it's real.
Well, yeah, because nobody likes her. People would rather not vote for anybody than vote for Kamala. She's terrible, dude. She really is not a likable candidate. And if she really runs again, I would really love to see those Democrat primaries, by the way. But who knows? But yeah, I find it a little bit kind of insane, you know. I don't understand it at this point, you know. I don't get it.
Real possibility. She did an event with Al Sharpton last month, and he asked her directly, and her response was, "Listen, I might." And now she's on a podcast talking about brainstorming ahead of the midterm election. So it looks like that's what it's shaping up to be. And, you know, you get into the bad ideas of what she's talking about, no bad ideas. It is a good idea for everybody to have these conversations. I think no bad ideas for when it comes to Democrats are ones that really meet people in the middle. I mean, you think about what lost them the election last year. It had a lot to do with that ad that Kamala Harris was a target of, where she's for they, them, Donald Trump is for I. They're not doing that. I think the rise of the Democratic Socialist movement is a very real thing in this country right now. So I don't think that those meet in the middle good ideas are going to happen anytime soon.
Jeremy, what do you think?
Yeah, and the fact that here's another reason why the left should lose, deserves to lose, is because they think that democratic socialism is a good idea. You're taking two shitty ideas, democracy and socialism, and meshing them together. We're a constitutional representative republic. We're not a full-on democracy. You could argue that we're a partial democracy, but we're not full-on. So if you take two crappy ideas like democracy and socialism and combine them into one thing, it's actually a terrible idea. It's one of the worst ideas you could ever have. And it blows my mind that people think it's a good idea. But yeah, what I'm saying is democratic socialism is a really crappy idea. You know it. I know it. The American people know it. Come on, man. You got to get a grip. Don't tap it with your tip. Don't tap it with your tip.
Yeah, well, to your first point, you know, you would think that if you're Kamala Harris, you lost this election in kind of an embarrassing way. Key parts of your coalition have now gone to the opposite party. You'd think there would be some more introspection. You know, you think she would be kind of talking about, you know, what are ways that we could win back the trust of the American people? What are some policies that we could put forward that would help, increase the quality of life for Americans? But no. Their whole idea brainstorm is about how do we rig the system to make sure that we can win, and we never lose another election. Like, how do we make sure that we get rid of electoral college, which, as you pointed out, would not actually help her anyway. But get rid of electoral college. How do we could pack the Supreme Court? Let's add in new states. I mean, all of these ideas, as you said, are.
Why would you get rid of the Electoral College? Why? Because if you get rid of the Electoral College, you'll have states like California defining and voting for our presidency, basically, because a lot of the population is in California. You don't want collectivists all getting together and saying, "Oh, we need we need this person to be president. Blah. Anyway, but yeah, I think that Kamala Harris is a joke. She should not run. Yeah. No, it's not a full-on democracy. It's not a full-on democracy.
Process or processes not actually geared towards policies that help Americans. And you notice that a lot of the rhetoric coming out of the left, you don't see actual well thought out, policy prescriptions. You get more of these kind of very aggressive process oriented ideas to rig the system so to make sure that they never lose another election.
I'm watching Emily, her speaking into the camera. It's very static. It's sort of the exact same kind of thing we saw when she ran for president last time. And we're hearing more people say they think she might be the nominee next time around. Obviously, a long way to go before that.
Democrats have, if Kamala Harris is the Democratic nominee, the Democrats haven't learned their lesson. The Democrats have not learned their lesson. You know what's going to happen? Nobody's going to vote for her. Because people are not that dumb.
But do you think the Democrats will sort of do, what I might call a Hillary Clinton again and like rerun a bad candidate all over again because they don't have a better person out there?
Gosh, well, that would be great news.
Well, they don't. And Gavin Newsom's not a good option because he's basically Patrick Bateman.
For us, I think they might. I'll say this. They are clearly playing the same play, which is trying to change the rules. This is their response to losing also. And remember we saw in that Spain global summit when leaders of the Democrat Party went over there, many governors and stuff, including Walz, and they kept talking about how do we fight the Republicans? How do we resist this administration? They never talked about how do we earn votes? Yes. When she said...
Oh, yeah, because they never do. They don't want to earn votes. They just want to sabotage everything. That's what the Democrats are good at. They don't come up with any original ideas. They're socialists. They can't because socialists don't have individual thoughts usually. They care more about the collective consciousness. They look towards others to come up with the ideas. And then the problem with that is that those others who are also thinking the same way they do, they're looking towards you to come up with an idea. So everybody's just kind of, Democrats are, the Democrat Party just blows my mind. They're highly collectivist, which is actually their downfall, by the way. Yeah, it's going to be their downfall. Overall.
Says now she's calling for more ideas. There's no bad ideas. First of all, the biggest bad idea ever was the Democrat Party not giving their voters a choice whatsoever. And just
there are such things as bad ideas. Can we please admit that, please? Do you guys have the ability to admit that there are such things as bad ideas? You guys know. But yeah, Kamala Harris if Kamala Harris wins the Democratic primary, Democrats are cooked. Democrats are... Could you imagine Kamala Harris going up against J.D. Vance in a debate? Think about that for a second. Do you really want that? Do you really want that? No, you don't, because J.D. Vance is a far more effective person than she is. Period. End of story.
Installing her as the presidential candidate. And secondly, they didn't listen to any ideas during that campaign because many voices in her party were clamoring to be heard, including a lot in rural areas that they blatantly ignored. And when you look at the campaign trail that she went on and that they invested in, it was very urban. They felt they had things on lock. They assumed they had certain votes, and that is always what the Democrat Party does. So now that she's calling for good ideas, if I were in her party, I would be sort of offended. Like, where were you when I was trying to be heard a while ago? But she can go ahead and do this. I also think that's the biggest indicator that you are out of ideas is if you're saying like, hey, what do you guys think? I mean, this is the party that was paying influencers millions of dollars to just show up at the White House under the Biden administration and tweet something out. So
yeah, it's funny. You know, a lot of those paid influencers are not popular, by the way. A lot of those like fake influencers that are like, oh, we're totally hip and with it. Yeah, we don't trust you. We know you're not authentic. We need authenticity. Authenticity matters.
Look, everything they do is stale because everything they do is not based on serving the public or having policies that...
Yeah, they don't really care about making anybody's lives better. They just care about lining their own pockets. See, Trump has already made his bag, so he doesn't need to line his pockets any further. Trump is doing it for the love of the game. I think he loves helping people. I really do. So, and that's why Trump has been able to do so much in such a short amount of time in his time as the president. You know,
work that actually care about people. It is always about simply scoring or currying or stealing votes.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Damn, dude. Now, Emily Capano's right, man. Holy crap, man. Give me one moment, everybody. Interesting. I think I have an idea. Okay, I think I figured out the audio. Here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Now, 1, nothing wrong with me. 2, nothing wrong with me. 3, nothing wrong with me. 4. E.T., man, you're killing me, bro. Well, try.
Real Garza says. Send a gift equals instant live shout out.
All right, I think I'll react to maybe one more video. Rubio warns a terrible mistake. China Senate. Nah. All right, let's take a look.
President Trump is on his way home following this whirlwind state trip. He's touting breakthroughs with China on business, on trade, and a mutual understanding with Xi on the Iran war. China, by far the biggest buyer of Iranian oil. The president says China agrees Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, but maintains the U.S. doesn't need China's help in bringing the conflict to a close.
Did President Xi make any firm commitments to put pressure on the Iranians to reopen the Strait of Hormuz?
I'm not asking for any favors, because when you ask for favors, you have to do favors in return. We don't need favors. We've wiped out their armed forces, essentially. We may have to do a little cleanup work because we had a little long ceasefire.
Yeah, Trump's the GOAT, man. Trump knows what he's doing, bro. My man knows what he's doing, man. My man knows what he's doing. All y'all is jealous. All y'all are jealous.
I guess you'd call it, but we have a blockade that's so effective. I think he will. I think automatically he'd like to see it opened up. He gets about 40% of his energy or his oil from that, from the strait. We get none.
Mark Meredith has all those details for us from the White House this morning. Hi, Mark.
Jillian and Shannon, good morning to you both. President Trump left China very happy with the way the trip went. He said plenty of nice things about his Chinese counterpart, but now comes the hard part. Will U.S. China relations become more stable in the months ahead? The president says while he was on the ground in China, he got more of a commitment from the Chinese.
Yeah, E.T.'s right, you guys. E.T. says, leave Garza alone. Some chick on YouTube 20 years ago. And E.T. also says, if you're not trying to raise Garza's self-esteem, what are you doing? Yes, what are you doing? You need to raise my self-esteem. You need to make me feel good about myself. Okay? You need to make me feel better about myself, bro. Make me feel better. I could treat you better. Treat me better, bro. Treat me better.
To buy more American products, from soybeans to Boeing planes. Some analysts were expecting a bit more, though. Market futures set to open sharply lower in about 30 minutes. Boeing stock also down this morning as the order was less than analysts expected. But today it is foreign policy dominating the day after the summit. The president says two major issues of mutual concern came up. First, Taiwan, which China claims as its own. The president said he made no firm commitment on what the U.S. would do if China were to invade Taiwan. And when it comes to Iran, the president says China wants to help end the conflict.
Here's the thing, man.
On Taiwan, he does not want to see a fight for independence because that would be a very strong confrontation. And I heard him out. Are you going to change your word? No, I didn't make a comment on it. I heard him out. I have a lot of respect for him. On Iran, it's very interesting. He feels strongly they can't have a nuclear weapon. He said that very strongly. They cannot have a nuclear weapon, and he wants them to open up the strait.
As the Wall Street Journal points out today, the broad takeaway in Beijing was that Trump and Xi both sought an end to a 10-year era in which the U.S. sought to blunt economic and security threats from China. The president says it's China who desperately needs Iran to reopen the strait. China, of course, gets so much of its oil from Iran, but there's still no commitment yet on what any sort of Chinese intervention would look like in the conflict. As for President Trump and President Xi, they do have that friendly relationship, and it looks like it'll continue. President Trump inviting the Chinese president here to Washington in September. That date is notable because there will be some trade deadlines that would go into effect in October, so likely they'd want to see some sort of deal worked out. As for the president, he is still in flight right now, and he's due back here in Washington around dinner time. Jillian.
All right, Mark Meredith at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for us this morning. Thank you. Shannon?
All right, let's bring in former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Mr. Secretary, always good to see you. I want to start here because you are somebody who's been a strong voice about warning against China and its intentions for years. What?
Oh, yeah. And I think most people should be pretty concerned about China. And I to those who are not concerned about China, man, I'm just... I don't know. I just think you should be. I just feel like China hasn't been very trustworthy. And I don't know. I just gift yum yum, gift yum yum. Oh, Annie, thank you so much for the trophy. I really appreciate it for the 1,000 jewels. Mucho apreciado. Everybody give a shout out to Annie for sending us a trophy. Big time apreciado, man. I appreciate you. But yeah, man, I just think that, I love what Trump's doing. I think Trump's on the right path. I think, to those of you who don't like Trump, that's fine. You guys do what you got to do, but I don't know, man. But no, thank you for that trophy cake, though. I really appreciate it. I just gave it a love. Everybody give a shout out to Annie, everybody. Boom. Shout out to Annie on that one. Big time. But, yeah, I just think that what Trump's doing is fabulous. I don't see anything that Trump is doing wrong. Whatever. Give me just a few seconds, though. There we go. Let's see. Okay.
What do you make coming out of this summit? Are we to believe at least what they've agreed to?
So here's the thing. I trust Trump's judgment on this. I really do. I trust Trump's judgment for the most part. Do I trust China? No. No. I'm wary to trust China. I think most people should be. I don't know why anybody would just blindly trust China on this one. I don't think we should. That's the way I see it. That's the way I do it, man. That's the way I do it. But no, I just think that China's been very untrustworthy for the most part, and we should take what they say with a grain of salt more than anything. But yeah, we shouldn't just blindly trust China. I think that would be a terrible idea. Probably one of the worst ideas overall. Hey, but what do you guys think, man? Should we just blindly trust China, take their word for it? I don't know. I don't think we should. Just don't think we should, man. I'm scared. I'm scared, bro. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to go take a walk. I got to get my walk on, but I got to feel good. Just like I knew I would. Make sure that you guys, if you guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Double tap the screen to like the stream. Become a channel member. Send us a gift. Send us a super chat. Whatever you guys want to send us. We're trying our best to become bigger on YouTube, on the YouTube platform. So even sending a small gift really does help in a lot of ways. So I just appreciate all your guys' patience with me and just working with me on all this. But real quick, we're going to keep Annie's trophy on the screen here for a few more seconds. But yeah, man, I just love getting a walk in. But no, thank you, Annie, for that trophy cake, though. Greatly. Mucho apreciado. Big time. Big time. All right, you guys. Well, I want to thank you once again. What we'll do is we'll probably be streaming, I don't know. Maybe a little later. I don't know. Why would I admit that we're in trouble, dude? Trump rocks, dude. Trump is the man. So I don't know how we're in trouble when we have Trump at the helm, dude. How could we be in trouble when Trump is at the helm, bro? Miss Annie, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be streaming tonight, but I wanted to get this stream out of the way for today and then get a lot of sunshine out of the way. So, but I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. And just have an incredible rest of the day, okay? Mwah. Oh, yeah, if you guys can, though, don't forget to tap the gift button and then send any gift that you want. It could be a small gift. It could be a large gift, but any gift helps. So whatever gift you guys send, I